Hey everybody, Alex Kazor, SteelersDepot.com, doing another video. I know we usually don't do one this early in the week after our initial analysis of the previous Steelers game, but I wanted just to take a couple minutes to try to kind of formalize and get out my thoughts about obviously the JuJu Smith-Schuster situation, the suspension. Tuesday evening, it was announced that his one-game suspension will be upheld by the league. His appeal to the NFL, the NFLPA kind of joint hearing officer, it was denied, so he will miss the Ravens game. I want to do a video, an audio instead of an article, because I feel like I can kind of get my thoughts out a little bit better in this format than trying to write about it. I'm sure if you followed me on Twitter, you've kind of seen my thoughts, so it's going to be kind of a similar idea, similar concepts, just kind of in maybe a little bit more streamlined and all in one place. And for those, of course, who don't have Twitter, haven't seen my comments, just try to stay away or whatever the case is, you'll get my perspective on it. I really think this comes down to optics. It's how the NFL operates, and let me say up front, this is not about what I agree with, what I think, what I would have done if I was the NFL, because I would have done things a lot differently. And ultimately, obviously, what I think doesn't matter at all. It's all about how the league perceives it, how the league operates, and what their decision is. So, I said it after it happened, that this is definitely something that could be suspended, and I think a large part of it is just the optics of the situation. I think another thing that did JuJu in and got him that suspension, was the taunt and standing over Burfict. That's going to make it look more malicious, more like there was true intent to injure, even though that's probably not the case, and it was just an emotional moment, and Smith-Schuster hit Burfict a little too high, and it was an unfortunate thing. It's a football thing. It definitely is a penalty. I mean, there's no debate about that, but if you're not a Steelers fan, you don't know JuJu, or you're just trying to look at it objectively, that look of him standing over Burfict, who's flat on his back, is not a good look, not at all. The fact that it's a Monday night game, the fact the card had to be brought out, a major, what appeared at the moment at least to be a major injury to Burfict's not going to help. How physical the game was in general with all the late hits, the high hits, and the craziness of that. And then again, what happened with Rob Gronkowski. Now, I made this point, and people think I'm equating what JuJu did to what Gronk did. Nothing could be further from the truth. What Gronkowski did to Trey White is a million times worse. Why Gronk only got a one-game suspension, I don't understand. Again, this is not me agreeing with what the NFL does. It's trying to explain it. He should have gotten more, and I don't have a good explanation for why he only got a game. But that doesn't mean the NFL is not going to suspend other players. If anything, they're going to be more likely to suspend somebody because they kind of go through these suspensions in waves where they try to crack down and say this is a really bad week and a really bad look for the league, and we have to try to send a message. So that's what it's really all about. And again, the optics of what happened with Smith-Schuster, because it was a high-profile moment, the cart being out, there was an injury there. The NFL is usually going to take action in those situations whenever the PR blowback is pretty big, as it was, because of all those circumstances that I just went into. It's like what happened with James Harrison in that Browns game several years ago with hits on, Colt McCoy and Massaquoi, that kind of got all this crackdown started. It was because you have guys laying unconscious on the field. And that's the NFL going, ooh, that's a really bad look. We have to do something about that. We have to send a message. The NFL is going to be a reactionary league. They're going to have reactionary punishment based on what sounds right and what feels right and what's going to be the best thing for them from a PR standpoint, so they can say they're upholding the shield and advocating for player safety and things like that. So it's a similar situation here. Now, again, it's an illegal hit. It's a flag. I don't even know how some people are debating that. If you don't like the rule, I mean, I get it. It's it's the old Hines Award rule, and the rules are clear. Anytime you're hitting a defenseless player, and initiating contact, with their head, with their helmet, regardless of whether that's with your helmet, your shoulder, it doesn't matter. That's going to be a penalty. And that's what happened there, and Ioka got suspended for the same thing. And then, of course, Smith-Schuster's appeal was denied, and I don't know if this is going to still hold true by the time you're listening to this or by Wednesday morning. But, I wouldn't be shocked to see if Ioka's appeal was reversed and he wins his appeal because, again, it comes down to the optics of it. AB, he wasn't hurt. He wasn't carted off. There was no taunt by Ioka. those headshots, while they are vicious, and there's no question about that, certainly a penalty, are fairly commonplace in the NFL. And the Ioka has probably got a better case to say that that hit, as unfortunate as it is, happens all the time. And, you know, if you're going to suspend this one, you have to suspend the rest. Again, in JuJu's case, while the crackback block happens all the time, you usually don't get a taunt. You usually don't get a guy getting carted off like that. So, again, it's an optics thing. That's going to be inconsistent. And, again, I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just telling you how the NFL is going to think about it and kind of what their process is based upon what we know about the league and how they act. So, I don't know if I had a whole lot more than that. I wanted to kind of quickly give my thoughts out there. Obviously, sucks not having JuJu for the Ravens game. It's going to cost him his whole paycheck, which is like $27,000, and he can't be around the team until next Monday when his suspension is done. For whatever it's worth, that'll open up a spot for Sean Spence, who's been signed, not officially announced, but I'm sure that's going to come tomorrow. Wednesday morning. So anyway, I guess really that's my thoughts on it. It's not me trying to agree with the decision and kiss the ring. Obviously, nothing's farther from the truth. It was an illegal hit, though, and I'm just telling you the optics of the situation. If that game was a Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock, and Burfict doesn't cart it off, probably no call or no suspension. Still would be a call. If what happened to Gronk didn't happen, you might not get a suspension out of that because the NFL feels like they're compelled to act in a week where they're laying down the law, so to speak. So again, if a couple of those factors that aren't JuJu's fault don't exist, then you're probably talking about just a hefty fine, the $24,000 fine for the defenseless player or whatever they're going to call him for, and life would move on. So I know not a lot of Steelers fans are going to like that. It's not going to make you feel any better. It doesn't make me feel any better. But I'm just telling you the reality of the situation, and I think what the league is thinking and how they're operating when they come to the decision to suspend JuJu for a game and uphold that decision on appeal. So anyway, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Whether you're watching on YouTube, Steelers Depot, or Twitter at Alex_Kazora. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.